I am Onyango Makochien, and I thank God for having ordained me as his prophet and his mouthpiece more so in the end times. And I thank God that this dispensation, he has graced me to do the work as he wanted. If you are tuned in to listen to this broadcast, know that God will judge you depending on what you do with this broadcast. God will judge you depending on what you do with what you draw from this broadcast. This is a godly broadcast, and I bring for us prophecies as God reveals, because God loves us. And I have several prophecies to bring. Actually, I have three agendas. One is about Kenya's polls. Kenya's polls. Now, there's something about the month of August in Kenya's history. And month of August remains a month that Kenya's, or many in Kenya, raises satanic altars. So Satan's altars are actually fed with sacrifices. And one of the months that devil worshippers, as well as also those bloodthirsty thirsty vampires take advantage of or actually uses, is the month of August. So there's something that if you are spiritual, you should know. Number one is that it is a reality that Kenya has Satan's altars. Kenya has a lot of altars that are satanic. Number two, Kenya has a lot of satanic agents, and leading in the list are politicians, and number two are persons that purport to be church leaders. So Kenya has persons who actually oversee those altars. Persons who oversee Satan's altars are called Satan's priests. They are altar priests. So there is existence of altars priests. Now, when altars are raised, they demand blood. So altars demands blood. So there are two kinds of altars majorly, altars of light and altars of darkness. So if you are a true servant of God, if you are truly a Christian, and you are one that is devout of God, you will operate altars of light as an individual plus all that you do. So there are also churches that are churches of God, then there are churches that are not churches of God. Then there are servants that are not servants of God, then there are servants that are servants of darkness. Also, politicians, very, very few of them serves God's purposes. Very few. Now, when it comes to this month of August, I told us earlier, and I gave prophecies earlier before about the month of August. And I also told us about bloodbath. Then I also warned Kenyans about the path between now, which was some time back, up to the elections, will be very bloody. Now, Kenyans are very interesting people, and that's why I decided that I'm not going to be praying for Kenya. Kama mutakufa, mukufe hivyo. But I'll be praying for remnants, persons who fear God. Kenya, not every person deserves to be prayed for. Politicians don't deserve prayers. Some church leaders don't deserve prayers. Because when I give prophecies, you find that majority of Kenyans, they like charlatans and, persons who actually speak after I've spoken. I give prophecy, then you find people who make money. They listen to what I've done. Then within 4 hours, 1 hour, 3 hours, there are those ones who simply make something out of this prophecy. Then they make money out of it. Yet they don't repent. Governments don't repent. Politicians don't repent. Church leaders are not repenting. And it's like Kenya, everybody is a prophet on his own. So why should I pray? So I said about this time we are in. And I say that it might be, probability will be that Kenya might not have the 2027 polls. Reason being, chaos that will take place, bloodbaths, also circumstances that will actually take place that leads to the August 2027 polls. So I say that 2027 polls might not be there. And if they will take place, it will be at a price of a lot of bloodshed. I warned that one. And you see, mathematically, between now and August, we have less than 1 year. It is less than 1 year because August 10th is calling. So if you calculate, we are actually around 10 months with the polls. And I told Kenyans that, number one, politicians in the Republic of Kenya, a majority of them from those who are the desirous of becoming MCAs, then those who are aspiring to be women reps, and if there be any men's reps, members of parliament, then governors plus senators, and to the topmost presidents. There are people who have less fear of God, and they will not depend on God to make them successful in their aspirations or quest for political leadership. So what do? They always consult witches. They always consult sorcerers. They always consult spiritists. They always consult spiritual mediums. They seek for spiritual power brokers for strength and for the ability to be successful in their quest for elections. So I told us that the month of August happens to be that one particular month that altars of darkness or Satan and his operatives capitalize on it to get sacrifices. Now, when you seek devil's power, when you seek devil's intervention in your affairs, Satan will demand sacrifice. Now, that sacrifice is always blood. And what is associated with blood? Criminality that also sheds blood, abortions that also shed blood, kidnappings that also sheds blood, robberies that also sheds blood, and orgies, which are also sexual orgies like rape that must lead to death, accidents, misfortunes, disasters, calamities, all that. They feed an altar, and that altar is Satan's altars. If you are a good Christian, understand that one. So, that is why politicians should not be allowed in churches to politic. If they must come to church, they attend church as members of a certain church and subject to a pastor of certain church. So when they come to church, they are ordinary citizens. The only thing that may actually quote to them is that they are senior. So they don't deserve a pulpit. They should just be given a microphone to greet people, hello, hello, if it's necessary. Otherwise, church pulpit should remain reverent. Church must maintain reverence. So you find that in Kenya, Kenya's church disallowed that one. Kenya's church actually opened themselves to politicians. So politicians not only defiled church altars by their presence and politicking, but also they did the worst. They gave monies in churches. Monies that were never well sourced, godly sourced. They were bloody money. And so you find that churches and politicians complicated equations. So you find that even church has no power. So I tell us that these politicians, in their quest for becoming political authorities, they kiss the devil. They kiss Satan. They paid money. Satan is never satisfied with money because he himself He's a god of mammon. Satan himself is a god of money. So he gives money as well. And his monies find their way into church altars. So unless you have sourced money through God's wisdom and God's blessing, your monies are not needed in Church of Jesus. So these politicians, when they consult those altars and those witches, they are inducted into a covenant. Now, those covenants, there's not a Satan's covenant that does not require blood. Every covenant that is unto Satan demands blood covenant, demands bloody sacrifices. So you find that I told us and warned us about goonism, criminality. I warned us about criminal gangs. I warned us about such groupings that actually will group themselves in greater numbers between the time I first spoke it up to the run up to the elections. To the glory of God, it has been confirmed and fulfilled. It is sad that, I said it, God warned us in advance, but you know what? Kenya is a nation where people do not heed God's voice. They will heed the politician's voice. So that'll tell you Kenya, the church failed. So the problem is no goons. Problem are no criminals. Problem is not those goons and those criminal gangs. Problem is our politicians and Kenya's church. So Kenya's church failed. And the politicians, actually, a majority of them in Kenya, they are not serving God's purpose. They have become devil's puppets. They have become devil's instruments. So people are killed. People are killed. Let me tell you something that you need to know. When you consult a witch, when you consult a sorcerer, when you consult these devil's agents, witch doctors and such persons, first thing they will do, they will induct you into a covenant. And even if you pay money, the fact that a politician stepped on those altars and gave on those devil's altars, they actually signed into a bloody covenant. And so those altars will demand, can 20 people die? Can 50 people die? Can 100 people die? There are some altars that will demand 200 heads of people. And that's why you find a place like Omabehi where people were slaughtered. It will be bad thereafter because those altars will be strong. People were sacrificed. You find that those sacrifices are all over. And I remember giving specifics, areas that will be hotspots, areas where criminal gangs will actually, originate. And I remember I mentioned Migori, I mentioned Homa Bay, I mentioned Kisii, I mentioned Kakamega, I mentioned Busia, I mentioned Siaya, I mentioned Kisumu. I remember I mentioned Nairobi, I mentioned Nakuru, I mentioned Mombasa. In fact, Mombasa, I mentioned nearly all the coastal towns. Then I mentioned Mount Kenya. They will produce criminal gangs. Then I mentioned Rift Valley. Now, Kenya security forces, though they benefit from these warnings, they always believe they are better and they are smarter. Kenyans better know that those altars demand blood, and blood must be to a certain level. Thousands of people will have to die so that Satan is appeased. Satan needs to be appeased. And so, because some people want power, they are like, want to pretend that in church, they are saints. But in the dark, they go for covenants. Even in Bungoma here, do you remember there was a politician that actually, before he went to elections, he cut covenant. He slept naked for 3 days, naked, inside a cow's carcass. And today, It's like he's forgotten. Though matters pose, his elections were nullified, but the covenant he cut, he bound the entire community into voting for him. Do you see God there? No, you see devil there. Now, those are kind of covenants. Then such kind of carcass, or it was a bull, is slaughtered and people in the area are given that meat to eat. You eat it, you're into covenant. You're bound into it. That entire family plus whoever you present. Now, so that's not the only case. In Kenya, these cases are normal. From presidency down to MCA, plus parastatal chiefs and CECs, ministers and all that. That's when altars of devils become rich. Witches become rich. Police force also, police chiefs, they consult witch powers so that they are immune against bullets. That's why some of them don't see me eye to eye. They say, we don't want that man. There's some police stations, if I go, I lodge a complaint. All policemen go into hiding. I stayed in one police station for many hours. They said, that man, we know him, we don't want him, we fear him. Because what I cannot, they carry clash. The entire DCIOs ran away from me in a police station. And some of those DCIOs, I should have reported you to be sacked. An entire county police commander, when they see me, they just go like this. Why? They have strange covenants. Their blood was actually, they actually had some initiation through blood at altars of devils. So a man that carries God and a man that carries devils, they cannot meet together. There will be a clash. And so that's why they avoid me. You find that government has officers that have strange covenants. Church pastors also have. There are some church leaders that have leaders who did not see God's power to be in those offices. They sustain their being in offices by devil's power through miracles. So I tell us that the month of August is a month that Satan harvests blood. So goons may not understand what they are doing, but politicians should be knowing that where they went for help and they paid money and they bargained for assistance, those dark powers demand sacrifices. So Kenyans know this one. There'll be blood baths every time Kenya will have elections. And you find that also tribal leaders, tribal elders, plus tribal chiefs, and they know this thing. Blood of cows are never enough. Satan does not want cow's blood. Satan takes human's blood. So there must be mysterious deaths, because that force, which is Satan's force, pushes for that blood. And so that's how it is, it has always been. And goons, I told you, goonism is no fool. Those are no fools. These are professionals. And government has also recruited its own. I told us some time back. Then you hear, police chiefs and, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations chief, plus National Intelligence security chiefs, they know what I'm saying. And they hear me, but they always never take heed. Even today, I know State House is listening. And I know all of them. They want to hear what's the latest. The latest is this: I tell Kenyans that you people are blood vampires. Kenya's politicians love money so much that they will kill. And politics is actually the latest profession that qualifies you as a thief. That even church pastors want to be politicians. Everybody wants to be a politician. Why? It is a legal way of stealing. And it's the easiest way of making it rich. You steal and then you cover it. Your parliament is a Sunday school. Those who you voted to go there, look at what they are doing. And unfortunately, the most unfortunate is this. A majority of them will go back to parliament. Why? Because Kenyans refuse God. So the covenant these politicians are cutting, and the prices they are paying, blood sacrifice, will hoodwink many Kenyans to vote for those thieves back to parliament. And if you want to believe me, if you want me to prove to you, look at what happened on my Bay. That tells you that some politicians are in for being re-elected, whether governor, members of parliament, women reps, and ABCD. They will actually go back. Who are fighting for them? Ordinary people. Who is paying them? The same politicians. What is the power behind it? Blood sacrifice. Sacrifice control people. Altars controls nations. Altars controls governments. Covenants controls governments. Now you see. So this month of August, it has been confirmed. I wonders about blood covenant. You've seen what happened in Kalau, and I told you, look, now see what has happened also, in Homa Bay. And it will still happen in other places. It's called blood sacrifice. So if August now is anything to go by, please imagine for yourself 2027. That's if we reach there. So I want to tell Kenyans, those who thought that Ruto is foolish, please, to stay in that power for this long. He knows how it goes. And this government is good. I told us that 2027 polls might be the worst compared to others. And people think that Ruto want to allow elections to go kismet like that. I say, you are dreaming. Only play number 10 will remove Ruto from power. Any other, nothing. When Raila died, opposition died. So his spirit, people say, oh, Sifuna irritated his spirit. I say, well, maybe yes or no. But the same Ruto cheated Raila out of his elections. And this Kenya, Raila was cheated 5 times. And that's why I have an issue, and I take issue with the church in Kenya and politicians in Kenya. They did not take my word as a servant of God serious. I told you, if you don't champion for IEBC to be reformed, you shall have the same results over and over again. Now we are going to the polls. IEBC has never been reformed. The only thing that has been done is changing personalities. So Ethokon replaced somebody. He replaced Chebukati. And today I don't even know who is the CEO. Who replacing who? Replacing this young guy that was given a lot of money, Ezra Chiloba. And everybody who has worked for IEBC chiefs, they are rich. They are rich. Kenya's church, they pretend that they know things. Okay, keep knowing. The other day I saw archbishops, are they archbishops, Catholic archbishops? I say, you Catholic archbishops, you are sellouts. And I think they have gone to Ruto because now the hospitals, the shut thing and all that, they also want money. Ruto at our pair, Ruto will give you the money. And they'll shut up. Because Catholic churches run a lot of hospitals. So the shut thing, Ruto is using it to punish. To punish as well as manipulate. And so Catholic wameingia box. They are pretending to be saying, oh, serikali, we don't want Gunism. I say lip service. When they were needed some time back, they were nowhere. I said, IEBC be reformed. Please, I did not speak it as an ordinary Kenyan. I am a prophet in the office. And the wisdom I have, and the prophetic eyes God gives me plus prophetic insight, I should not be taken for granted. So you take me for granted, you perish. Now see, they want to go, Kina Gachagua make noise out there, Kina Sifuna and the rest out there, Kina Kalonzo. I say you are running the wrong course. You're fighting the wrong course. The right course was to contain and champion for IEBC to be reformed. Sober church leaders that really needed to do what was right, they were to champion for reformation of IEBC. They never did it. Now they believe that Ruto will be removed by force. I said, Ruto being removed by force? If it is Gunism, he's the best in recruiting them. I said that one some time back. If you think you'll kidnap him, he's the best in that business. And his boys are smarter. So I said, those who say we shall have 1 million march to State House. Remember Nakuru. The presence of State House, State Lodge. Walikufa kama nzige. Then you say we have 1 million march. Raila tried it. He did not reach there. Anybody sitting on the seat of power is like a god in this republic. And only Jehovah God will break down the small god. So Kenyans, we missed the opportunity for IEBC to be reformed. We are 10 months to the elections. That's why I said the best thing will be to forego the elections for now. And Kenyans enter a dialogue. There must be a talk so that the playing field is leveled. People say, no, Ruto will be president for another term. I say, which one is better for you? Dying after the polls or delaying the polls and doing what is right? There is something that is full, that is actually, I call it a fool's mind. Kenyans are pushing for elections. They want Ruto out no matter the cost. I say, I think cost is too big than Ruto himself. A lot of damage has been done. A lot of losses have been done. And Kenya will suffer more, the worst, after the polls. In fact, we are not, God reveals to me what he knows. I will tell people. And there are things revealed to me that he does not allow me to speak. And then there are things he does not reveal to me at all. The 2027 polls and plague number 10, about timing of plague number 10, even me, I don't know. Bible says it's appointed for man to live and die once. Man is born and there's a day, and that day of death is only God who knows. So Ruto has judgment. Plague number 10, I don't know the date it will hit. Sometimes God actually, postpones. He postpones because maybe somebody is crying. Maybe somebody is crying. Maybe Rich is the one crying for Ruto. And something also strange is that Kenyans have gotten themselves into repeated judgments. Repeated judgments. So that while God is judging Ruto, Kenyans are also in judgment. So you have maize. When I said some time back, Ruto went and his wife, they laughed at me. They say, we with the helicopter over Kenya, we're expecting 60 million bags. I say, Munigawie use 60 million bags so that I feed the poor in the republic. I say, Ruto and Rachel, ogopeni sana nabii wa Mungu. You and your prophets, ogopeni sana nabii wa Mungu. I am like this. And some people think that apostle will be killed by some people. I say, I'm more protected than Ruto. Him is protected by men. Me, I'm protected by angels. So who is greater? So I say, because they mock prophet. See, Kenyangalia, the judgment lack of, when there is no harvest, Ruto does not suffer. It is Kenyans who suffer. So that should tell you, well, Kenya, you are in judgment. And there's something about Ruto having been graduated to become a judgment president. Judgment king. That means he becomes wicked and oppresses the same Kenyans. Now, such matrices are beyond understanding, that a suffering nation, God will allow even your king to live more months. And together with your suffering, economy is biting. Politicians are looting and stealing. Your healthcare system is not really serving you. Your economy is tattered. Your politicians have money out of this depressed economy. Your politicians have money out of this depressed economy. I ask Kenyans, which God are you praying to? Better conclude you are in judgment. And that's why I tell you, the date and the day of playing number 9, harvesting your king, is a secret and is a mystery. But one thing you should know, it will happen. If it happens before elections, it will be chaotic. If it happens after elections, it will also be chaotic. So after polls are actually conducted, which of course will never be fair and credible, something on the other side will be happening. Like 9 and 10 will be eating Ruto. Together with that one, Kenyans will be totally dissatisfied. That's if the polls are conducted. And they'll be on the streets, on the roads, everywhere, plus on the trees. Others will be like what they are doing now. The others will be actually on the streets for him. Others will be in the streets against him. And such chaos, because when I talk of them, I see it as a video, will actually necessitate fresh elections, which will not take place immediately. One, Oparanya will be sworn in as president because he'll be Ruto's VP. And Ruto will actually resign because of those chaos, a lot of noises and chaos. Will actually resign. And his resignation will have worked for his safety concerns and his investment. So Paranya will be actually continuing because, okay, you don't want Ruto? Oh, fine. Let his VP continue, which constitution allows. He's the one who will actually bring reforms and changes so that Kenya can have fresh elections. So, up to that point, Kenyans, you should know that you're in judgment and you need to seek for God. Where did you abandon God? I told you your churches sold you. Church leaders sold you. And your politicians are sellouts. They sleep with the devil and then they praise Jesus in your churches. I say, you're just lucky that God did not strike your church altars with thunder. But I think God should strike those churches with thunder so that churches actually are destroyed by God himself. Because they are serving damage and losses to Kenyans more than good. Those who have ears here. Ezekiel chapter 3 and verses number 17. And that's why my hands remains clean. I'm sent as a watchman to warn, and I warned. So, son of man, I've made you a watchman unto the house of Israel. So, Israel here, in this case, is Kenya. Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. So, which I warn every time. So, when I said unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. God of heaven has actually seen my hands. I've been warning you repeatedly. So, yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall surely die in his iniquity. But thou hast delivered your soul. That one too, I am clean. Again, when a righteous man does stand from his righteousness, and a majority of Kenyans qualify verse number 20 plus church pastors who started well, politicians who started well. So they turn away from their righteousness, then commit iniquity. God lays a stumbling block before such a person. Then such a person will die because I have not given him warning He shall die in his sin, and his righteousness which he has done shall not be remembered, but his blood will I require at thine hand. This one I have also washed my hand. I've warned the church, even the state, even Ruto and his wife directly. And so my hands are clean. So God warns us because he loves us. And the warnings as God says a prophet, and I'm a prophet to warn. So my warning should not actually, be taken lightly. But you find that it has been taken lightly. And so you see now the church members, church pastors are now out. They are demanding, resignation of IG. I say, IG will resign maybe. Government contain goons. I say, government will not contain goons. Government will not contain goons because government itself has recruited enough goons and they are good at it. So what you are seeing is just the beginning. Let me submit that my hands are clean. So those who went to Homa Bay, they were baptized in dust. I saw Sifuna was baptized in dust. And this group. Something I should also tell Kenyans about these politicians. It is pride. Babu Owino and Sifuna, they wanted to prove their might. And they also met their match. I say, these people are playing with the people's blood. If you are warned about an area and you had intelligence that that area you'll die, please, to retreat is not cowardice. You could have just said, okay, because of the intelligence you have had, we are not going ahead with this meeting. I say, Sifuna Okiriek. That's a Babu Owino Okiriek. You sacrifice people's blood. And those who also withstood the other end to make sure that Sifuna does not hold a meeting. I say, you are bloody vampires. Nobody is clean amongst them. Even Wanga is not clean. They are not clean, all of them. And who is suffering in between? Ordinary Mwananchi being sacrificed. There are altars that demand. So I said, there is a God in heaven that will judge persons who sponsor bloodshed, persons who mastermind bloodshed, persons who also recruit goons. There is a God in heaven. But Kenya mujiulize, why all this? Mbona mambo haya yakawapata wa Kenya? Where is your church? Where is your God? I rest my case. Gachagua, I told you that Gachagua is actually playing a tribal card. If you are a Gikuyu and you are hearing me, because with the Luo Kenya, I'm done with them. I told them that nyinyi mutakwisha hivyo will be played. After Raila demise, look at how Luos are being played. Like this, like that, like this. The other day they were dying for Raila, now they are dying for Ruto. The other day Ruto must go. Today, the same Luos are dying for him. I say, Kenya ni nchi ya imejaa matata na maajabu mengi sana. So if you are Gikuyu, listen to me and listen well. Someone is misusing you. His name is Gachagua. And I say that economic Babylon was set for Mount Kenya. Mulingia. And with a lot of hatred. Same hatred drove Uhuru and Ruto to power. Same hatred also, Gachagua is playing it. I say this is the truth. Yet there are churches that are praying for Gachagua. I say God of heaven has not been hearing your prayers. Question is, why are you praying? Pray that Gachagua gets saved. Pray that Gachagua, like Ruto, repents. So both Gachagua and Ruto are just the same. They have a soul tie. Blood shedders. Well, let them hear and hear. No one will actually disqualify what I'm saying. So Wakenya mtaka kupiga kura. Kura ilienda. And Ruto will be president. Because IEBC is the one with the password. Even if elections are voted, majority which will actually vote him out, please, the results will never show you the truth. So tell Kalonzo, Mr. Smart, you are smart, yes, but you will have been smarter so that you outsmart Ruto in IEBC reformation. Kalonzo, Mr. Brother Smart, please, you should have proved your smartness by having IEBC reformed and those kits reconfigured. Your smartness is just with the crowds. But where you need to approve it, you failed. Mutabaki na Ruto kama rais. Ngojeni kifo yake pekee.